Nick, first question in the middle.
Mark, you guys had 25 assists tonight. What did you feel like were some of the factors in just the offensive flow and rhythm that everybody seemed to be feeling?
I thought, Indiana's kind of an acquired taste. We haven't played them a ton. They're not in the West, obviously, and they play a very distinct style on both ends. And I thought there were a lot of things tonight that we were just like a little better in and more comfortable. And that was on both ends of the floor. I just thought the guys did a good job of just improving, which is important going from game one to game two.
Joel on the right.
Joel Lorenzi to Oklahoma. Mark, I just wonder what it feels like against Indiana when you're operating in that sort of 15-point to 20-point lead and what you felt was different about the middle quarters of tonight compared to game one.
I just think you have to understand against them because of the pace and because of the three-point shooting, there's a variance element to every NBA game in this NBA, but certainly in the games that they play. And I just thought we were the aggressor tonight for much of the game, even when we had a lead. I thought the guys did a really good job of keeping the foot on the gas, especially defensively. I thought we really amped it up on that end of the floor. There's a couple times where we got off track on both ends, but we were able to course correct pretty quickly. So I thought the guys did a really good job of just recognizing when we weren't where we needed to be and getting there quicker.
Joe up front.
Joe Masato, the Oklahoman. Mark, what did you think of Aaron Wiggins and just the spark he gave you guys off the bench and the rest of those bench guys as well?
Yeah, they were huge tonight. He was huge tonight. I give him a lot of credit because he was a huge part of our success this season. And in the playoffs, his role's been variant night to night, but he hangs in there. He was huge in the Game 4 win at Denver in that series. And he was massive tonight, went in there with great confidence, didn't go in until the second quarter and just dove right into the game. So great professionalism, great readiness, and a huge performance for us, in that situation.
Jenny?
Mark, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. Obviously, there was a stretch there in the fourth where Tyrese kind of gets going. But you guys, through 3+, just really held him in check. It seemed like he maybe wasn't getting the ball to teammates, wasn't rebounding maybe as much as he did in the first game. Was that part of maybe keeping him at bay as long as you did? What did you like about your defense on him?
Yeah, they're not the type of style where you're just like keying on one player, just because of the way they play. And so they're a more conceptual team, and you have to be kind of a conceptual defense against them. And if you do that, I think it has a downstream effect on everybody against them. And so I thought we were able to do that tonight. I thought, like I said to Nick's question, the guys just really improved in a lot of subtle areas, from game one to game two, which is what you have to do in a playoff series to stay ahead of the series.
Barry over here, second row.
Yeah, Barry Trammell, Tulsa World. You played your bigs differently today in terms of the rotation. What did you like about the way Chet and Isaiah played separately and together?
They were both really good in both situations. I thought both of them gave us huge lifts on both ends of the floor. That was one area where we improved tonight was our pick and roll coverage against their bigs. They're a different look because of the rolling, the popping, just the way they play. And I thought one area that we really improved was on the defensive end in that area of the game. And, they both were great. I thought Chet in particular, he obviously had a rough offensive night in game one. As always, he rose back up and was really, really good.
Fred Katz from The Athletic. I'm curious how you felt like your offensive process changed from game one to game two, and specifically in just getting into your sets a little earlier. It seemed like you guys were a little more urgent getting into sets earlier in the clock, and how you feel like that affected you guys offensively tonight.
Yeah, they're a very distinct team. They're not just like a vanilla team. They play a very distinct style. It's part of their effectiveness. And it's both ends of the floor. They have an offensive reputation. They've been kind of branded as an offensive team, but they have a defensive identity as well that's predicated on pressure and perimeter physicality. And I just thought in a lot of areas it'd be easy to just say that one thing looked better tonight, but that would be oversimplifying. I think we were just a little bit better in a lot of different areas of execution, of pace, to your point, organization, decision making in the paint. Aggressiveness at the basket, gathering the ball. We just we're a tick forward in all those areas.
On your right, Sam in the front.
Sam Amick, The Athletic. Mark, with Shea, after game one, there was some discussion that it was a bad 38-point game, which probably speaks volumes about what he's capable of. And then you look at tonight, but speak to the bigger picture. All playoffs long, 36-5. He's kind of creeping up the history charts when it comes to the impact and his ability to meet this moment.
Yeah, unsurprising at this point. It's just kind of what he does. He just continues to progress and improve and rise to every occasion that he puts himself in and that we put ourselves in. And I thought, his floor game tonight was really, really in a great rhythm. I thought everyone played better individually, and I thought we played better collectively, and I thought that was just a byproduct. I give the team a lot of credit because that's a long 48 hours when you lose game one like that, coming into game two. And the guys did a great job of just focusing on what we needed to do to stack to a win tonight, and that's how we got it. So that was individual players, collectively, offense, defense, everything.
Dan, over here on the third row on the left.
Dan Devine, Yahoo Sports. Along those same lines, Jalen, 19 points, 5 of 14 shooting, but the impact overall seemed to be here from them. I'm just wondering what you're seeing in terms of the shots he's getting and then his overall floor game, the impact of that.
Yeah, he didn't get off to like a great start in his first stint, and then he really settled into the game, and he's huge for us. I mean, it's, all the things he brings to the game, defensively, size, versatility, physicality, offensive, on ball, off ball, that floor is really high. Like we really need him every single night. And when he has the great offensive nights, then he's unbelievable. But he's a great player independent of that. And I thought he was a great player tonight. He was another guy. He took a nice step forward. I think we all just kind of calibrated to our opponent. But you have to continue to improve in a series. I mean, they're going to go home, be very comfortable. They play very well there in these playoffs. And so if we don't continue to improve, then, we'll get caught behind them.
Michael down left.
Mark, Michael Grange from Sportsnet Toronto. I think Shea had 6 assists assists to 6 different players for 3, and fairly critical game, obviously. And what does it say about the kind of trust that exists between him and vice versa in a situation like this, that he's willing to get off the ball and let other guys kind of step up and help?
Yeah, I mean, that's been a mark of his whole season. I think that's an area, the scoring and the efficiency obviously gets a lot of shine, but he's really steadily improved as a playmaker, and he's been doing that for a long time. I thought in game one, like I said, it was as much to do with us calibrating to the opponent and the style, which was very different from really what we've seen in these playoffs. And I thought we did a good job of that tonight. But again, we have to continue to evolve in the series. Indiana's going to do that, and we need to do that individually and collectively.
John in the middle.
Yeah, John Hollinger from The Athletic. Mark, even while keeping the same starting lineup, it seemed as you got into your bench, you stayed much bigger at the 2, 3, 4 than you were in game one, and I was wondering what went into that decision.
Yeah, I mean, just the feedback from game one. Like we had regular season games that we studied, and we studied their games leading into this, and then we threw out what we threw out in game one. I thought there were a lot of good things in that. I also thought we could push a little bit in terms of size tonight, obviously with the way that we went. So it takes discipline, but we try to really use these early games in the series to learn, what our options are and what our trade-offs are, and not assume anything. And that was the intent tonight, is just to get a little bit more information. Now we have it. We'll apply that as we move forward in the series.
Last question in the back center.
Daniel Bell, BSO. Yeah, Mark, compared to game one, defense seemed a little different. Not as many turnovers. Can you just talk about the differences between game one and tonight with the physicality, point of attack?
Our defense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some of that's Indiana. There's 2 teams out there, and obviously when teams play against us, they understand that taking care of the ball is critical. And so I thought game one, first half was probably an outlier. And then I do think, when we play smaller, we tend to be a little bit more of a turnover defense. And when we play bigger, we have other strengths. And so it's a combination of things. But I thought overall, every look we threw out tonight, the guys did a great job with.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep, thank you.